Intellectual Radio Black Conservative Podcast. I am your host, Alan J. Campbell, aka the Batman. And yes, the Batman is back in the house. He's back in Gotham. Back in Gotham. Hey, look here. It's great to be back. Even, you know what? Even the Batman needs a break. Let's start right there. Even the Batman needs a break. Because understand something. Out there fighting crime 24/7, 365. You know, gotta let these, when you're out there kicking ass and taking names, hey, you gotta let these wounds heal. There we go. You see them guns, so we coming. So, hey, but it's good to be back. It's good, I want to get into this relatively quickly. I'm not going to even sugarcoat it. But over the last 2 weeks, because let me tell you right now, I'm not going to talk about the Trump situation. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about the Israeli and Palestine. All of these are things that are part of the ongoings, a part of what I call the order of natural selection. This is part of it. And why I say that's part of it, because you're going to have conflicts wherever you go. Okay, that's just the thing with Israel and Palestine, or AKA Hamas, or whatever you all want to call it, the IDF and so on and so forth. This is part of what goes on. The thing with Trump and his trial. This is part of the natural process, the natural way of things, the natural process. Okay, this is what's supposed to happen. But what I do want to get into, which is appalled. You know what? I won't say that's appalling. I won't, because this is also one of the. Well, I won't say this is one of the natural things, but because it isn't, this is something that can be rectified if people would first get their heads out of their asses and actually be proactive in this particular matter. Okay, right now, the big thing that people are talking about is the immigration situation, or the migration, the influx. Okay, now, at last report from the CBP, or Custom Border Patrol, at last report, they have an influx of migrants crossing the border, and now mind you, now these are individuals who are crossing into this country illegally. Okay, you want to hear the number? This is a staggering number. This is just in 1 month. 67,000 immigrants have crossed over into the United States illegally. And that's just in 1 month. Think about that for a minute. 67,000 and counting. Okay? And counting. 67,000, that's a small city in anywhere USA. Okay. Now, I've had heated discussions with people about this thing. I've even had someone tell me, well, everybody has a right to live where they want to live. Not if you're doing it illegally. Not if you're not coming through the proper ports, which is San Diego, Arizona, and Texas, and even points in Florida when you come in, which is either Tampa or Miami. Bottom line is that how do you have sympathy for someone breaking the law? I don't care what people say. I don't care. You're breaking the law. And then not only that, but these people, and I've spoken on this before, these people are not only breaking the law, but guess what? They are being rewarded. Do you know what the income? Do you know how much money these people are getting? How much financial aid they are getting? And this is for a family of 4 for migrants who are not even supposed to be, who are illegals. Do you know that they're getting $3,000 a month in financial aid? When a family of 4, you're fighting you are naturalized citizens, and you're fighting to get that $1,200. Oh yeah. See, we got to start. We look closely, do the math, do your research. These are not numbers I'm pulling out of my ass. This is hard data. 3,000. That's 3,000. $3,000 a month in financial aid, housing, medical that they're getting. Right now, they are building what they call migrant camps here in the city of Chicago. Here, they're building migrant camps. One particular migrant camp that they're building on as we speak was right now there is a debate. I won't say a debate, but there is a conflict going on with that particular parcel of land. Because why? First of all, where it's being built, which is in Brighton Park, or what for most people who don't know their communities, or let alone directions or things of that sort, Brighton Park would be the area of 39th and Archer, that particular area. There's a parcel of land that they're building right now to house upwards to 2,000 migrants, housing them. Now, here's the catch. That particular parcel of land, according to the EPA, has high levels of contaminants such as zinc and other fluorocarbons that are seeping up through the ground. But yet and still, they're building on that. This is what they were doing. Now, the governor, J.B. Pritzker, has actually put a stop to that because of the contamination. There was a hearing in court this morning that an alderman and several of his constituents or residents filed an injunction to have this stopped. Well, now the fact that that's not necessary now because they don't have to put a TRO, what they call a temporary restraining order, in place because the governor has ordered all work to stop until they can get a good understanding or grasp on how to manage these contaminants. You see how this is just causing more problems than it solves. More problems than it solves. They're also talking about they have begun renovating a space on 115th and Halsted, which is the Roland Maple Park Morgan Park area. Okay, for those of you who are from the south side of what we call the Wild Hundreds. This is where they're talking about housing migrants over there too. Now, if we go back to what Trump said in 2016 when he was running for president, and he made a comment that a lot of people thought was disparaging. Okay, here we are in 2023. 6 years later, and certain things have happened with these migrants being here in this country. Some of them are committing crimes. Some of these individuals have criminal backgrounds. Let me be clear. I'm not going to call them criminals, but some of them have criminal backgrounds. Okay. In 2016, Trump said, these people, the only thing that these people are going to do when they come here is that they're going to be a burden on the system. Some of them are going to continue in a life of crime, continue to commit crime. And he also used the term, they're going, how he put it, going to rape and commit crimes. Now, aside from that, here we are in 2013. There were 4 migrants who were just recently arrested in Oak Brook for what? Committing a crime, for robbing a Macy's store. He said that 6 years ago. Here we are. Go figure. Now, that's not to say that that's not to say all of these migrants are undesirables. Let's be clear. But it's difficult to sort them out or to root them out. It's difficult to do that. It's no different when people look at us as Black people. It's no different when they look at us, even though some of us, we don't have, majority of us don't have criminal backgrounds. But when they hear a lot of crime that are being committed by some of us, they look at all of us the same way. A good example, and this is a sidebar, okay? And before I get too deep, the phone lines are open. So if you have a comment concerning immigration and the migrants and the migrant camps, please, by all means, give me a call here at the studio. Or you know what? I'm going to just start calling it the Bat Cave. Give me a call here at the Bat Cave at 708-223-8953. That's 708-223-8953. Yes, y'all, I'm feeling really good. Really, really good. So with that being said, yes, you give me a call here at the Bat Cave. This morning about 4 a.m., some individuals, and I'm being facetious when I say that, but we all know who it was. Some individuals rammed a car into the storefront of Neiman Marcus on the Magnificent Mile. Now they didn't get in. They weren't able to get through the security doors. They just left a smashed car. Now here's the other part. 4 individuals jumped out of the car that they used to ram the gates, and those 4 individuals jumped into 3 separate vehicles and took off down Michigan Avenue. Okay, so we kind of know those were a bunch of niggas that this is a game that can't shoot straight. This is them, and some of y'all know who they were. That was Lil Ray Ray and Pookie and Can't Do Right and Two Guns. We know who they are. Y'all know who they are. But this is what makes it difficult for society to accept us. This makes it difficult for us to accept other members of a different faction. Now, this is another little tidbit too that we as Blacks we have to stop doing, or we have to get off this bandwagon. I really wish that a lot of you Black people, shut up when it comes to immigration. Shut your mouths, because you actually have no equity. You have no say-so in it. You're in a country where you are still considered 3/5 of a man. You have no real rights. You are still considered under the Constitution as chattel property. So please get off of that immigration train. You have nothing to do with that. Shut your mouths. If you want to do something, talk about what we need as a people and the rights that we have been denied forever and a day. Why are you policing? Let me correct myself. Why are Black people politicking for people who shouldn't even be here? That's the correct word. Who should not be here? Who are here illegally? Huh? Oh, man. My man just Earl just said what yes, it's several people that are on that bandwagon. Yes. You'd be amazed. You would be amazed. But we got to get off of that. That has nothing to do with us. Absolutely nothing. When you see people out there marching for migrant rights, for immigration rights, huh? But Dwayne, when you look in the crowd, it's a handful. It's a handful, but not a lot. It's a handful. We shouldn't even be there. We should not even be there. That's not or I should put it, that's not our fight. That's not our fight. Not at all. Not our fight. Our fight should be our community. Our fight is our community. Our fight is our children. Our fight is economic development in our community. Our fight is Black-owned businesses and Black money, Black-owned businesses. The worst thing, and I don't want to drift too far, the worst thing to come along for Black people was integration. Because what integration did, that took away our ability to create for ourselves. And we were fed the lie of that integration would lead to equality. We would talk that was almost 60 years ago, 60, 70 years ago. And here we are, we're still having the same conversation about equality. The same conversation about us. The same one. Now, let me swing back around to that original campfire concerning the migrants. Just over the weekend, now to a certain degree, this is almost karma. Just over the weekend, there was a migrant boat that ran aground on the coast, off the coast of in California, in Malibu. Ran aground right there on the beachfront property of Malibu. Now, Malibu is the Mecca, basically the Mecca of California, of high end living. That's where majority of your actors and actresses, music artists, all your stars, they live on that little stretch, that little community. That little bit of community. Now, not only that, but this happened over the weekend, and there were upwards to 50 to 60 migrants coming out of this boat and making their way to the shore. They were only yards. Now, these people, migrants, coming here illegally, and they landed on in the beaches of Malibu, where stars like Barbra Streisand, they were only yards, a few yards from Barbra Streisand's house. People like that, Leonardo DiCaprio, Cher, several other high profile individuals. But these were some of the people who were absolutely against immigration reform. See, it's no fun when the rabbit got the gun. When these people started clamming at the gates, now it's a different aspect. Now, oh my gosh, we got to do something about this. But the sad part about this situation with immigration, they have been talking about immigration reform since the 50s. Here we are, half a century later, and what? We're still having the same conversation. The same conversation. We could say that's just crazy, but it's not crazy. It's the fact that there are certain entities and certain powers that be, they don't want change, because what happens, this is a money machine. This is money. This is money. This is what it looks like when we come here, when we swing back around to the city of Chicago, about why there's such an uproar, and why our infamous do nothing and do nothing mayor is so on board with a lot of this. When he's asked these questions about immigration and these migrants, he tends to sidesteps, dodges, or just flat out won't answer them. Why? Because this is an individual who has his hands in had his hands in other people's pockets, because this is about money. This is about money. These migrants here, because why? The more migrants you have, the more what? Federal dollars that'll come in here. And at the same time, you got to ask yourself, if that's the case, how is it that you can find money or get federal dollars for people who are not supposed to be here, or who do not have, let me rephrase that, who do not have a right to be here, who do not have a right to these services? But yet you have the very same situation to where you have homeless people here in the city of Chicago. You have veterans who are not getting the treatment. Why? How is it that you can't find money for them? If you go down Lakeshore Drive right now, well, let's just say go down Lakeshore Drive, starting at, say, Fullerton, all the way up to Hollywood. If you go down Lakeshore Drive, you will see homeless encampments. You'll see, I mean, I couldn't believe how many tents. And it's just, and people have really basically have taken up residency along Lakeshore Drive. It's the most unbelievable thing you've ever seen. And you say to yourself, the city of Chicago, one of the crown jewels, one of the richest cities in the world, and you have this type of problem. That's because our administration, or this administration, does not care. That's how that happens. This is what it looks like. But yet, this is the same person. I heard him say it out of his own mouth. The fact that you found millions of dollars to give to migrants. When he did his budget of $60 billion, 60 with a B, 150 million of that is going to migrants. I'm not even understanding that. I'm not understanding that. 150 million is going towards migrant relief. Not to mention the 53 or 56 million dollars that quote unquote he said he was able to find to give to migrants. When you have, help me understand something, and this is, and I'm being rhetorical. How do you all of a sudden find this money? How do you find it? How is it that his promise was, I'm going to open up mental health facilities. I'm going to quote, his other thing was, I'm going to defund the police. Look, bro, that's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. Not to mention that in his $60 billion budget, there was no money for fire. There was no money for public safety. Public safety, no money for public safety. I have never known a city not to funnel money or pour money into public safety. I've never known that to ever happen. Only with this administration that I'm seeing. I've never known that to happen. The city of Chicago, the police department, and the fire department, they are literally stretched. Literally stretched. When you have upwards to 100 officers, 100 police officers that are retiring each month, there are more officers retiring faster than they can put some of these kids through the academy and get them on the street. That's a problem. The same thing with the fire department. These are guys that are getting out and can't get enough in at the same time. This is problematic. But yet, a lot of this money is going to um, migrants. And not only that, but here's the other thing too. Not only is that happening here in the city of Chicago, but that's happening in other cities too. Um, Mayor Adams, um, Adams, the mayor of New York, he's having the same problem. They are stretched to, and they have a police force of 36,000 plus 36,000, and they're stretched. Not only that, but there's issue with the money that was coming in, federal funding. Now, at the same time, this is also a story that was brought to me that Eric Adams had spoke out against the funding for migrants, and then all of a sudden he's catching absolute hell. All of a sudden, his home is raided by the FBI. His cell phones and all other devices have been seized. What's going on here? Well, here's the thing. When you get into this particular arena, and you start eating from the federal trough, somebody's going to be upset when you start telling certain things, or they don't get their fair share. And this is happening. This is happening at many cities: New York, Chicago, uh, um, Houston, L.A. In certain cities in the Midwest, certain cities here in the Midwest and out west. These are things that are happening, and this is stretching the economy for the United States. It is stretched right now. This is so funny. Right now, they're meeting in Congress because word went out that the United States has run out of money. But all of a sudden, but you can find billions of dollars to give federal funding to migrants. I'm not understanding. That's just so perplexing to me. It just defies all logic. You say you run out of money, but you find money for other things. You find money for programs that have no value, that have no equity. Or you're putting money into programs that don't work and never have. This is the problem. This is why we are in this. For example, prime example, when you're taking money and you're giving federal money to countries like Israel, Ukraine. You're taking money, or so to speak. It's not even robbing Peter to pay Paul. You are taking food from your house to give to taking food from your children to give to your side chick. It's what you're doing. You are taking from your family to feed your side chicks, her and her kids. That's that's what it looks like. When you're taking this, you're taking from those who should have it. You're taking from those that not only should have it, but are in need of it. When you get a mother that goes into DHS, or Department of Human Services, and the hoops, and she's struggling. I mean, Lord knows she's struggling. Trying to feed her 4 kids or 5 kids. She's at a job that she's making ends meet. She did. I mean, the thinnest of threads, and she's trying to do this. Not to mention that she's working maybe 6 days a week, maybe 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, just to bridge gaps and trying to get supplement to help her out, and the hoops that she's got to go through. Or, sorry, ma'am, you make too much. You make $1 more than what the federal regulators say is qualifies you. What? That's insane. I heard it during the conversation today. A guy brought a topic to me, and he said, next year, shucks, in a few weeks, January 1, that they are going to raise, McDonald's in California. But you have to understand, it's very, very expensive to live in California, period. The McDonald's they're going to start people coming in the door. They're going to start off with $20 an hour at McDonald's. Now, okay, most people say, oh my goodness, $20 an hour? Oh, that sounds great. Yeah, but at the same time, what is the cost of a hamburger going to be when you go in there for a meal? You go in and get you let me get a number one. That's the Big Mac, fries, and a drink, and it's $17. Where do you think that money comes from? You have there's an offset. It's no different what we're doing with food. They're giving people more money in food stamps or i.e. link, but what else are they doing? Raising the price of food. How does that work? But at the same time, you're giving migrants $3,000 in cash and link, and giving them housing and free medical. How does that work? I thought that was astounding when I heard that. 3,000, and then you get someone that comes in and then the hoops that they have to jump through just to get 1,200. They're trying to feed 5 kids, or it's a family. It's just asinine. You just can't. Sometimes you just can't believe the things that our system engages in. You just can't believe it. Sometimes it's even mind-boggling. It really is. You almost don't know what to say. You truly don't. Have no idea. None. Now, a lot of people will disagree with me on this, and ask me if I care. Nope. Ask me if I care. Now, most people will say, okay, Trump this and Trump that, but we also have to realize, but we also have to admit, Americans, and I say Americans, it doesn't matter whether you're black or white or Hispanic, Americans saw more money in their pockets than they had in the previous 4 presidents. They saw more money in their pockets under the Trump administration than they see right now and the previous 4 presidents. Why is that, you say? Because he ran the country like a business. And as a businessman, he knows where the money is. He knows how to find money. He knows how to generate money. He knows how to create income. He knew how to do that as a businessman. You have this jackass in there now. This dude Biden is who's just truly losing his effing mind, and he's going, his mind is going to hell in a handbasket. This is a guy that's been in politics, I kid you not, since was when I remember him, and it may be a little bit more. I remember the first time I saw this guy in politics, and he was on the Senate floor. I saw him in 1992. That's the first time I ever saw him, in 1992. Okay, 92. This dude, that's 30 some odd years. 30 some odd years, and you ask yourself, what really has he done? Not a single solitary thing. Not one thing that is actually beneficial for anything. This was a funny thing. And it was funny at the time. So somebody had asked Trump after John McCain died, and Trump did not go to John McCain's funeral. People thought that was, oh my goodness, that's just really hard. That's just really disrespectful. This guy was a war hero. This guy was that. And this guy was this. So sometimes we have to sometimes we have to look at things. We laugh at things because it's funny, but we also laugh because it's true. And Trump made a statement and they asked him, why didn't he go? He said, why should I? I mean, you all make it sound like this guy was some war hero. Well, he was. No, he wasn't. There's a guy that flew one mission, got shot down, and got captured. My definition of a war hero is a guy who completes the mission and comes home. Now, most people will say that was pretty harsh, but no, that was true. That was true. What do you the idea of a hero is a guy seeing the job through. And he had a point. He had a point. Harsh, but true. Harsh, but true. Very, very true. Because I'm looking, I want to see when Biden first came into office. Because, like I said, the first time I saw him was in 1992. Yeah, something like that. And I was like, oh, this guy here, and that's when he still had some hair. And no, missed it. Yeah, here it is. Let me go back. I'm looking. This guy is 81 years. Yeah, he's 81 years old. 81. Now, this is the part where you say you need to go somewhere and sit down. Truth be told. Let me see. When he first, yeah. But anyway, this is what makes it, so interesting, is that you have someone who's been in office this long, and and they want to make it seem like that this guy has done such great things. Okay, here it is. This guy he's been in office he's been in politics since 1971. 1971. Okay. And you ask yourself, what? Okay. Going back to here. Yeah, here we go. Okay. He was the chair for the Senate Judiciary Committee, 1987 to 1995. That's why I said, well, it was like 92 when I first saw him. But when you look at this, is that you go back to this part where it really ramped up as far as political offices was in 87 all the way to now. And you're just like, what really has this guy done? Once again, this is an individual that they're not addressing immigration. They're not addressing the migrant problem. The CBP, Customs and Border Patrol, are stretched to the limit, to the point where it's hard for them to really keep up. And when you're having people come across the border and you have a monthly tally of 60 to 67,000 people that you are detaining, and then some you have to just, it's almost what they call a catch and release. You catch them, you detain them, you process them, and then you let them go, and then you give them a court date when to come back to go in front of a judge. Now think about this. If I came to this country illegally and I'm subject to maybe have a background, do you honestly think I'm going to show up for court? Not likely. I'm going to just blend in somewhere. I'm not coming back. Not going to happen. And that's the some of the unfortunate part. Now, here's the other part too about this too. You have some people that have been here 10, 20 years and have not and haven't and are not on the path to citizenship. But they've created businesses, getting jobs, putting their kids to school, but no path to citizenship. I'm not getting that. But this is the quandary that we're going to continue to deal with as this situation continues. Because right now, here in Chicago and other cities, not only that, but they're allowing these people to register their children in school without birth certificates, without social security cards. How is that possible? When you yourself, an American citizen, you catch hell for not having your child's shot records or they got vaccination. Help me understand. Help me understand that process, that thinking. Help me understand. Like I said, I had a person tell me, what they did was, and I had, it was just a matter of becoming contentious when they said, well, these people deserve a place to live. You know what? First of all, let's just stop right there. And then they went on to say, well, what about what about us? What about us as black people? We were stolen from Africa, and they brought us here, and that's a totally different aspect. That's mixing apples and oranges. Apples and oranges. When we were stolen, let's be clear, we were stolen. That's the killing part. These people weren't stolen. They made a conscious decision to leave one country to come to another with the promise of a better life. When we got stolen from Africa, nobody promised us nothing. They just said, get your black ass on the boat and you're taking this trip. A guy told me a little side joke about that. He said, one of the things he said, you wonder why black people are so afraid of boats. Well, think of it this way. The last boat that we got on, it didn't come back. Most black people want to know if they don't have a problem with the boat. They don't have a problem where they don't have a problem with where it's going. They just want to know when it's coming back. And it made sense. We were stolen. These are people who came here of their own volition, their own. And now you're telling them, yeah, go ahead. You know what? Because you're here, yeah, you can register your child. How is that possible when I'm registering my child and you tell, oh no, you can't register your child because your child is not, his child record is not up to date. Or here's the other thing. Your child's birthday may fall after the school year starts. So he can't start until next semester. But they're gonna give, but this kid who came here illegally, no birth certificate, no social, he gets that slot. He's getting the education that your child should be getting. Tell me, help me understand. Has the world lost all its common sense? How does that work? When I first heard that, and people were so on board with that. How? What happened to the rationale and common sense of saying, no, I'm gonna stand on this, and when I say something, I stand on it. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. You should not be rewarded for breaking the law. Simple. Here's the thing. Guess what? I'm gonna tell you what. How about this, Earl? How about this? You and I decided we're gonna go down there and stick up. We're gonna rob BMO Bank. We're gonna stick up Bank of America. Now, here's the thing. If we're able to get away, we should be able to keep the money, right? Wait, think about this for a minute. We broke the law, so we're rewarded. Oh, okay. If the police don't catch us within the first 5 miles, let them go. Wait, is that not the same? Wait, but aren't you giving the migrants the same kind of consideration? They broke the law. Yeah, you broke the law. We're going to give you housing. We're going to give you food. We're going to give you clothes. We're even going to educate you. We're going to give you all of these things. But if we go down, wait. If we're going to practice breaking the law, that should be across the board for everybody. I should be able to walk into a bank, and say, you know what? Give me $49,682. That's all I want. What? Oh my goodness, you got that down to the number. Yeah, because I got a couple of things in mind. Now, if I'm able to get past the guard, out the door to my car, being pursued by police, and if I make it, even better, if I make it to the expressway and I'm heading down 57, 94, 55, whatever, I should be rewarded by keeping the money, right? I mean, let's just keep it real. It's the same thing. You are rewarding people for breaking the law. But see, nobody wants to talk about that, because what happens is that now you have to hold, now you're asking people to be held accountable. That is the real issue. You're telling people, we're going to hold you accountable. Hey, these people broke the law. Lock them up. Huh? Yes. Lock them up. Men, women, and children. Lock them up. I don't want to hear this about, hey, they need a place to stay. I don't want to hear this about that when they stole, that they did this to us, and this, that, and the. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. We didn't break the law when we came here. We were stolen. They broke the law by taking us from another country. Plus, that was 400 years ago. We're talking about the here and right now. That's what we're discussing. We live in a country where democracy is a joke. It's a fallacy. There is no, the United States is not a democracy. The United States is a capitalist socialist regime with a dictatorship under the guise of a president. If you don't believe me, break it down. We're only going to allow you to do and have so much before we have to what? Step in and shut you down. What do you think the CIA is there for? What do you think the FBI is there for? What do you think the NSA is there for? These are the gatekeepers. So does that sound like a democracy, or does that sound like a dictatorship, a socialist? Does that sound like capitalism? We are in debt so far that it's ridiculous. We're out of money. They said this today. The United States has run out of money. Run out of money. I'm trying to think like, okay, wait, how in the world does that happen? Oh, that's right. Because they're paying for wars that they're sending money to places that they shouldn't. Not only that, but do you all know that we're still paying off the debt from World War II? Oh, by the way, the money that they're using to pay that off, that is our children's, my children, my engineers' children's. They're using their Social Security money to pay off the debt. So when my grandchildren get ready to retire, they won't have any money because it's all gone. Isn't that insane? That's crazy. Healthcare? No, it's a joke. But people who come here illegally. See, the thing is that sometimes people kind of get a little sideways, is that they look at this and say, well, we should show some level of compassion. Let me see about that. Don't break the law. How about that? Very simple. If you're not coming through the proper ports, proper channels, the proper ports, you should be arrested. Because I guarantee you, if you're going into Mexico, cross the Rio Grande via banana boat or inner tube, and the federales get you. Because understand something, if the state police get you, or the federal police, you're going to a prison called forever. Make no mistake about that. The American consulate, you can forget it. That's if they decide to even allow you to talk to someone. Make no mistake about it. You can't go into China. You can't go into Russia, Japan. You can't go into of all countries, Saudi Arabia. You can't go into there and not illegally. They'll jail you you will be jailed until the next apocalypse. That's somebody, and understand something. That ain't but around the corner. But why would you want to be in that position? Why? It's not about right or wrong. It's not about fairness. It's about right and wrong. How do you give someone a job that should rightfully go to myself, people here in the studio, people who are out here in the street who are hunting jobs every day, who are looking for a job every day, hoping and praying that all that at one point or another, instead of hearing no every day, that somebody says yes, come on in. Yes, you got a job for you. But it makes it difficult when you have people who have no birth certificate, no Social Security, and not, but they'll come here and they'll get a job and they're granted a green card or what they call a naturalization card, and you get a job. Where are we doing? How does this? We ask, and it's rhetorical, but how does this work? And not only so much as how, but why is it allowed? It is allowed because it's about the dollars. It's about the dollars. It's about these government officials, these politicians, and the money, the money train. How this money just continues to funnel into their pockets. Not programs, but into their pockets. You tell me a program that a politician has put together or funded that it benefited an organization or people. Tell me one. I'll wait. Well, with that being said, I see the lights flashing in the distance and the helicopter's about to land here on tonight's show. Hey, the whole idea is I want you all to take something away from this and think about what I'm saying. Think about this. You don't have, like I say, everything it's an opinion, but sometimes we have to give the ridiculous a try. We have to kind of keep our head on a swivel and see what's actually going on. And we also have to start seeing things for what it really is and not what we want it to be. This is what change is all about. Sometimes accepting things that we really don't want to accept, but it is what it is. It's the reality. We have to start accepting the reality of things. The reality. So with that being said, hey, I'm going to get out of here. Hey, at the end of all this, not my monkey, not my circus. Hey, time to go out there and fight some more crime. Atomic battery.